Who is she? I am Alinafe Malonje. I am a writer, a women's rights activist, an artivist, and the co-founder of Wana Collective. How do I define myself? Okay, I think that's hard to do without defining myself in terms of my profession, but I am someone who loves art, loves media, loves any kind of storytelling, and I love the stories of women. And that's something that I've really realized about myself recently, that there's so many dynamic and nuanced stories of women, African women specifically, Malawian women even more specifically, that I love. And right now, if I was to define myself, I'm someone who is committed to telling those stories. What kind of woman do I aspire to be? I guess someone who children, young girls can look up to simply because I lived in myself truly. I don't try to be a role model per se. I think you can be a role model simply by being true to yourself and true to what you love doing, true to who you believe you should be. So I aspire to be someone that kids can look to and say, okay, I can be myself because she was herself. What is my biggest fear in life? My biggest fear is probably not realizing my purpose, which can be a strange thing to say because I feel like sometimes I feel like I know what my purpose is, and other times I don't know if I'm on the right track. So going through that back and forth in my head, and sometimes I get afraid that, okay, what if I am on the wrong track, or what if I have all these dreams and I don't ever fully get to realize them? So I guess that's my biggest fear. Also just sometimes I get scared of not trying. I've been telling myself recently to just try things, to just apply for things, to submit to things, to write, because I will really be angry at myself in the future if I never tried. What are my hobbies and why? It's been difficult to differentiate between hobbies and work, because recently with Wana Collective, a lot of the things that I love doing have also kind of become my work. I love creating, I love experimenting with different art forms. I love writing. I think Wana has given me the chance to step outside of my creative comfort zone. So I'm used to just storytelling through words, but now with Wana and with my co-founder Larato, I experiment with animation and sometimes illustration and graphic design, and there's just so many, and podcasting, there's so many different ways of telling stories. So now my hobbies have also kind of become my work. Between day and night, which one works best for me? I would say night. I can't lie, it's always been night. I've always been a night owl. Even if I wake up early to do actual maybe 9 to 5 work, I do my best creative work at night. Anything that I have to do that requires me tapping into some kind of inspiration is always best done at night for whatever reason, I'm not sure why. What is my favorite meal? That's a difficult question because I like food and I like a bunch of different types of food, but I would say I really like sushi. I really like stir-fry noodles, stir-fry rice as well. What is the most annoying thing you have ever encountered? The most annoying thing, it's hard to pick one, but I would say one of the most annoying things I encounter is being in spaces where I am underestimated. It's taken me a long time to get to a place within myself to realize that I am good at the things that I do. I am good enough to be in certain spaces. I'm good enough to be in certain rooms. So when I encounter people that make me question that and question whether I deserve to be in a room or whether I deserve support in my work, it is annoying because it sets me back personally, because it's taken me a while to get to this place where I tell myself that I am really good. And I don't like having to constantly reaffirm myself, but it's necessary. What's the saddest moment you've ever experienced? I would say my brother's death a few years ago is probably the saddest moment I've ever experienced. Simply because he was my older brother, and when you're young, your older sibling is like your best friend. So I think that's, dealing with his passing is the saddest thing I've ever experienced. The happiest moment you've had, that one's hard to choose, because I think I'm a very emotional person, so when I get sad, I get really sad, but also when I get happy, I get really happy. I laugh really loud, I cry really hard. So in terms of happy moments, it's hard to pick because I have a lot of them. But one, I think I've had a few very happy moments. I had a few very happy moments last year with Wana Collective, and also working with Lerato. And I think working on Wana has helped me realize more the importance of like sisterhood and girlfriends and women that support you. And meeting Lerato, someone who understands me creatively, was something I didn't expect to happen. So I guess meeting her is one of the happiest moments I've ever experienced. Working with her has been happy, and also working on Wana has made me happy. Working on things that give me life, like listening to the stories of women and trying to put them into a form that is accessible to other people, that gives me so much life, that makes me happy. I think women in general give me life because they make me realize that, like, okay, I could be like this. There's so many women in Malawi who've gone through so much and worked on so much and impacted so many lives without ever outwardly telling people that this is what I've done. Like, they impact lives quietly, and realizing that there's so many of these quiet stories, like, that gives me so much life and that makes me happy. What was the point you thought of giving up? There have been a few points that I've thought of giving up. There's been a few different times that I think, like, sometimes when it comes to writing, I have to tell myself to keep writing because I feel like there will be people that want to hear my stories. But sometimes I'll write something and I'll be like, maybe I'm the only one who is interested in what I'm writing. So sometimes I have to tell myself, I have to keep motivating myself not to give up and to keep writing and to keep creating. I think also with Wana, there's so many times that we get discouraged because we don't get much support, and we've had to encourage each other and encourage ourselves. Like when we have an idea and we know that this idea is good, this is going to be impactful, this is going to impact someone, even if it's just one person, that's enough for us. And having to we have to motivate each other, and I have to motivate myself because a lot of the time I feel like giving up because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but it's so worth it when it's done. What do you wish people would stop asking you? What do I wish people would stop asking me? I wish people would stop asking me when I'm going to get a real job, or to get a real job, or what my real job is. I think Malawians don't. I think it's new to Malawi to be able to do creative work professionally, and that's something that's even been difficult for me because I have to supplement my creative work with a 9-to-5 job. But even my 9-to-5 job is remote work. So working remotely is a new concept to a lot of people, but especially here in Malawi. And working creatively is almost alien. And it's really discouraging when people say things like it's not real work. Because what is real work? Does work have to be laborious and make you stressed and upset for it to be real work? Is that what makes work real? Is it a crime to be happy when you work? Is it a crime to enjoy the work that you're doing? I think that's when sometimes people consider your work a hobby because you're enjoying it, but you should be able to enjoy your work. It doesn't always have to be hard. Single, taken, or ready to mingle? I am taken. Yes, I am taken. I'm not ready to mingle. I guess I'll leave that there. Leave the rest to the imagination. Introvert or extrovert? I think I'm more introverted in the sense that I love my alone time. I get charged by being alone. When I'm with my friends and when I'm with groups of people, I can be sociable, depending on the size. If it's like a small group of people in intimate settings, I can be sociable and actually get energy from that. But most of the time, even after that, I really need to be alone. I value my alone time. I value time to think, to work, to write, or maybe to spend with my family. But yeah, I think mostly introverted. What is your dream car? See, the thing is, I don't know cars. I can't even name one car. Toyota Corolla is the only car I know, and that's the car that we have at home. So I don't think I have a dream car. I know I really liked the Maybach when I was really young, but I feel like that might be outdated now. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know cars. What is your favorite quote? I've forgotten how it goes now, but it was like something like well-behaved women rarely make history, something like that. I've forgotten who said it, but the quote is well-behaved women rarely make history, and I really love that. I love encouraging girls and women to be loud and unapologetic, because the world and society has been loud and unapologetic in its injustices. The patriarchy has been loud and unapologetic. Misogyny is loud and unapologetic. Pain, hurt, oppression, all of that is loud and unapologetic, especially in Malawi. And I think as Malawian women, we really are raised to be quiet and demure and modest, and sometimes that is a way to keep us in our place, to keep us from fighting and shouting and saying, I don't want this. I don't want to be in this place anymore. I don't want to hurt anymore. I don't want to hurt in silence anymore. But we are taught to be silent. So don't be well behaved. Politeness never saved anybody's life. Be loud. Be unapologetic. Don't focus on what can I do to be. I think there's another quote that says like children are better seen and not heard, and sometimes people say women are better seen and not heard, which is another way to like silence you and to silence us. So I have to tell myself, because I've also been brought up in the society that tells me to shut up, basically, and to be quiet and try not to hurt people's feelings, try not to make things uncomfortable. But I say let's make things uncomfortable because we have been uncomfortable for a long time. What is the biggest lesson life has taught me? That it ends. Life ends very quickly sometimes, unexpectedly. So the best thing you can do for yourself is to live a life that you would be proud of. I think that's the biggest lesson I've learned, and I think that's something I try to channel, knowing that I don't want to die tomorrow living someone else's dream. I don't want to die tomorrow doing things that made other people happy and never doing things that made me happy, trying to impress other people and appease other people and never living for myself. So live for yourself before you die. What achievements are you proud of that most people would consider silly and weird? When I was 12, I think I was 12 or 11, I submitted to this competition. It was called Mini Sagas, where they asked kids to write stories that were, I think, between 12 and 20 words long. And I wrote this small story that was like 12 words long. And I got chosen to be one of the stories that was published in the book. I don't know if people would think that's weird, but I think when that happened, I was like, oh, okay, I'm 12 and I'm published. So I started calling myself a published author at 12, even though it was like a 12 like word story. But I was really proud of myself for that. And I think being young and seeing that, okay, I can do this. If I can convince someone in these 12 to 20 words that this story is worth reading, imagine what I can do with thousands of words. How would I love people to treat me? I would love for people to hear me, not underestimate me, support me, love me loudly. I think especially because sometimes I feel like I can be a difficult person to love, and I don't say that in a self-pity kind of way, but sometimes I feel like I'm very low maintenance. So when it comes to like relationships, so I don't always need reaffirming or reassuring, but I know a lot of people require that, and I know it can be difficult to be in a relationship where I'm not really communicating that I love you and I care about you, or a friendship where I'm not communicating that I love you and I care about you. So I would love for people to give me time and patience, because I'm also learning, and to love me loudly and tell me that they also want to be loved loudly. What is my inspiration to those watching the program? I guess I would love for someone to watch this and see me just being myself. I think I said this before, that I think the best way to inspire other people is to get them into a place where they feel like they can be themselves unapologetically, that they don't have to fit themselves into a mold that's been created by society in order to be loved and appreciated. So I would love for someone to watch this and be like, oh, okay, Nafe is there just telling her story. I can also just tell my story, because my story is also valid no matter what it is.